All right, hey everybody, TG here. Let's see if we get everything up and running. We got the video looking good. All right, so let's dive into a few things here. Oh yeah, look at that, live. Love it. Love seeing that thing come full circle like that, don't we? All right, so yeah, we've been having some really good stuff. In fact, Allison, Joe, and I just got finished with our money show virtual event, and I'd say it went pretty darn well. Went swimmingly. In fact, we Joe put on a day trade, and I was able to correlate that with the Moxie indicator, and I get some stuff that I can show you guys today. And I don't know if they're going to put this up as a recording or something, but go check them out. See if you can find some more information about it. We put on. I looked at another longer term trade that we're going to be following up with in a couple weeks about this. So if you guys are interested, we're running some specials over at Simpler Trading. So just talk to our customer support team; they'll hook you up. But yeah, that was a great time. So we'll see if we can get some more of those done into the future. Let's see. Then I was on the KE report the other day talking about everything markets. And then, yeah, just more stuff. I think we were kind of pushing that Facebook, the money show thing. Oh, and then, yeah, this was pretty good. I had a nice post from Friday down here in the corner. You can see it was March 15th. And I said, hey, we're probably going to get a bounce off of the daily 21, which I said here. And sure enough, on Monday, we did. So kind of nice just to follow up with some of these things, show you guys what it looks like inside of the Moxie room in case you're interested in coming and checking it out and being part of that crew. All right, so let me slide over here. We can show you guys that day trade. Law of the Jungle, good to see you, man. Omer Mirza, thank you. Looks like we were good to go in the Moxie room as well. All right, so over in the NASDAQ, this is what Joe was looking at. Now, mind you, day trader, okay? He was trading futures, so very small trades. It makes good money for, makes some money or whatever for future traders, or if you guys are doing like, I don't know, 0 day to expiration, anything else like that. For me, this is barely anything. Like this is hardly any kind of movement, but there was still a setup. So what we were looking at is, the thing that's set up from yesterday. There's a larger term double bottom. Okay, and then this morning there was a bit of a gap up, and it came right down to support. And what we could see is that it came down to the 5-minute 50 and also the 2-minute 50. So, okay, well, let's come down to support. Now let's see if it can start moving up. And at the time, you could see, and I know we have to basically really zoom in for this because also the time has gone by. But here you can see price was getting just kind of trapped by the 15-minute 200. And you could also see that there was this previous price level right here that price needed to move past if it was going to go. And then as we saw things kind of setting up, we're like, okay, well, let's see if we can hold these areas of support. We also had the 5-minute 8 over the 5-minute 21. And we were looking to see if the 2-minute 8 could get over the 2-minute 21. It was kind of neutral at the time. And then what we did is I looked over here and we looked at the internals. And you could see that we were mildly bullish. We had at least the wind to our backs for the upside. None of this was red. And you could see that the order flow was positive. And you could see the advanced decliners were also positive. They opened down, but were working their way up. And then you could see the ticks at the time had started low, and they were also kind of just working their way up a little bit like that. And so we're like, okay, if you're going to pick a direction, probably want to go long because of these areas of support and all that stuff. Now, keep in mind, today is FOMC day, and the market has been pretty neutral for the last several days. And so you add all this context in, and you're not expecting a big move. You're not going to be thinking, oh, this thing's going to be trending for hours. Like, no, we're looking for a quick pop or something like that, and that's pretty much it. And then if we really zoom in here on the 2-minute, you can see right when this thing started to move, you got the Moxie price trigger. So that was actually really good timing on the Moxie indicator right there. Not to mention, we had a 2-minute squeeze, and we still have a 5-minute squeeze. And at the time, we were just starting to get a 15-minute squeeze. But given that this was going to be a very short-term trade, really the only thing I was looking at was the 2-minute squeeze. And sure enough, price continued to hold the 2-minute 50. You can see it started to move up. There's your Moxie price trigger, and that was pretty much the end of the move. And as it turns out, look at this. It ran right into the 2-minute third ATR and gapped off the 8. So any of you in the Moxie room, you guys know that this is the stuff that I talk about. Eric, nice. I see that you got your picture up there, so that's cool. Glad that worked out for you. But those of you in the Moxie room, this kind of situation where I talk about that third ATR and the gap between price and the 8 EMA, I talk about this on all the time frames. Like I even talk about this setup as being overbought, extended, even on a weekly time frame. So this kind of stuff is fractal the way that I talk about it and how we can actually dissect the market. So if you guys like the way that I talk about swing trading, well, you can take the same stuff and apply it to day trading, and that's what we see here. And so yeah, he wanted, I know Joe wanted to get maybe just a little bit higher. I think that's where he had his buy stop. It's probably lined up with right there or something like that. And it didn't quite get it. So he was moving his stop up along the time and then just took it right up there and still made a good amount of money as far as percentages on something like that. But man, you think about that, that is just an absolute tiny move, and then it got pulled right back down. But again, keep in mind that this is FOMC day. It's usually pretty quiet. Everyone's kind of just waiting for the Fed. Like nobody's going to make any real big moves today because Jerome Powell's going to come out and he's going to do his thing and going to talk and Q&A, and the market wants to see what are they going to do. All right, so that's something to kind of keep in mind. And honestly, you can see that the Nasdaq has generally been trending down over the last few days. So now we just kind of need to see, is there more downside in this market, or is this just taking a break until we actually go higher? I would prefer. Now, I'll tell you what I prefer versus like what's actually going to happen. We don't know yet. But if we come over to, let's just talk about the SPY. What I would prefer is I'd love to see this market actually cool off and pull back and recycle a little bit, because it is really hard to want to get long and really get aggressive on names out there, because they've been up for 4 months and everything's already up at the highs, and we could really just use a bit of a correction or a pullback or something like that. Something to give us a little bit more opportunity to buy some stuff on sale, to buy some dips, buy the lows. And it's tough when the market is all the way up there. Okay. So it's up there. It's been extended for a while, but of course things can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. We all know that phrase. And we also see that price is up here at the monthly third ATR. So we'll see if maybe the Fed, Jerome Powell is going to say some things that the market's not happy about, like higher for longer, that kind of thing. And we'll have to see. A lot of times the market is like ready to do something, and then it just looks around and finds an excuse. And today could be one of those excuses, one of those reasons to get something moving in the down direction. Don't know, but we're pretty light, pretty nimble on our positions, and so I think we're ready to go with whatever happens for the market. So then we come over here, and even on the daily chart and the hourly chart. Now, in one regard, sure, we could be looking at some consolidation. The market's kind of been leveling out and through here. Okay, so if the market does really want to keep going up, just kind of needs to take a breather. It has pulled back now into the daily 21, trying to find some support, and maybe it's a little bit of consolidation before it goes higher. Fine. Not what I'd want. I'd really actually prefer things to cycle back down, but if that's what's going to happen, okay. I am otherwise concerned about the hourly Moxie indicator. It has been trending down over the course of time, and you can see that it's been pretty right. The market has actually just taken a chill pill and calming down. But there hasn't really been a short opportunity. I've only shorted one thing, and that has actually been Bitcoin, and it worked out for us. So I know usually we have Brighter Side and a couple other people here on Facebook and YouTube and all that kind of stuff. So if you guys are lurking in the background, let me know what's up with you guys, because we're going to follow up on a few things today. Remember, we were talking about you guys looking at shorting last week, and there might have been a few moves. Again, if you're day trading or doing some of this really near term, very quick type stuff, okay, there have been opportunities. But as far as swing trading, no opportunities. The market has been, I believe, kind of topping out, and it's obviously been getting more volatile, and you can see it's just been getting choppy. So sure, there was kind of a down move going into last week, and then it hit the 21. And as I showed you at the beginning of the session, when I posted to the Moxie group on Friday, I said, well, we're coming into the daily 21, we're probably going to bounce. And we did early this week. So we'll have to see where that is. Again, I'm still not Still not super excited about this market. I really would like to see these things cycle back down, do something, because I based on my rules, I can't go long on this stock, this ETF, when the Moxie indicator is down like that. It's just not going to work for me. And so I wonder if we're kind of in a process of chopping around until we finally move down a little bit, and then we'll just have to see where that goes. So we have that. And then, if we look at the FANG ETF, well, let me come over here, bigger picture. And we look at this, and you can see, yeah, it's been taking a breather. Has not been going up, but it does look like it's just been flagging pretty nicely into the daily 50 and maybe finding some support. And honestly, this looks like it could come into this and keep going higher, but I just not sure if that's going to happen. Of course, I can be flexible and I'll keep an eye on what's going on, but you could also see maybe back here that it looked like price wanted to come into the 50 and maybe go up for a little bit, but then it failed. And so I'm prepared for something like that to happen too, simply because I just think that this whole market is pushed too far, and I don't really see any other way that this should go. I'd love to see it come down. The other thing that I'm looking at is in the past situation. So you can see, how there was a bounce there. The hourly Moxie indicator again was very far below zero. You can see that other than this peak, for the most part, the hourly Moxie indicator was below zero, and that did help start the pullback for the market. And so I use that as a past reference, and I look at where we are now, and you can see that the hourly Moxie indicator has been below zero for quite some time. So I'm having a hard time believing anything to the upside if that happens for most of the market. We're still actually in some long positions that are doing great, but that's because I do think that we're getting a rotation, and there are areas that are still bullish, and so we're in those. Let's see. So B1 XBI was a good short. It may be over now, but it was good for a while. Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, that was a good pullback. And I think we talked about last week when you're on here that, sure, take a short, absolutely. But maybe also just recognize that it could be a pullback in a longer term uptrend. So get what you can, but don't overstay your welcome. Sounds like you did just fine on that. But yeah, you can see overbought and broke through the hourly 50. There's your Moxie price trigger, and it had a nice slide down. And where did it go? Look at that, right into previous price support, price congestion, and right into the daily 50. Now, of course, maybe this is going to keep going lower, but you know what? For us being active traders, that's worth it. That was a good little trade, and you did it through Lab D. So let's see, what was that worth? So I don't know, roughly here to here. Ah, nice, 23%. Yeah. Even if you got a chunk of that, man, that's a good trade. So good for you for spotting that, seeing that, and taking it for what it's worth. So for us, on the other hand, we did Bitcoin and we shorted this. So let me get down to the lower time frames so that we can actually see this. Now, I'm looking at GBTC. You can look at Bitcoin futures, whatever you want. I just happen to use this. I kind of correlate between a lot of things to make my decisions. And we could just see that Bitcoin was getting obviously pretty up there. Like, okay, how long is this going to go? And what I did is I was waiting for the right opportunity. You kind of see I had a paper trade up here. I was like, okay, I think we're getting close. It jumped up a little bit. No, not quite. And then what you noticed was price continued to move up here. Notice that the Moxie indicator didn't go any further. That is the Moxie indicator starting to speak to you and tell you, hey, something's going on with momentum, momentum and energy. Because price up, Moxie indicator not going up, and started to roll over. And so what we did is we shorted GBTC via BITI. So we went long BITI right there. When price got underneath the 15-minute 15, you can see it started to move on down. Now we took half off there simply because, again, with the daily 21, it could always bounce. So I figured let's just cash in some, and then it can be a free trade. And if it bounces, then we can get short a little bit later. So for us, BITI, quick, easy little trade for now. Oh, let's see, what was that thing worth? Something around here to here. Well, 11 and a half, maybe 12% if you kind of pushed a little bit, depends on where you got out. So yeah, not too bad. Pretty good, decent little move. That'll pay some bills. And you could also see that BITI also started to have some volume coming into this. And actually, I don't know if how many of you guys actually follow my let's see, my Twitter, my X, whatever you guys want to call it. But I know down in here somewhere I was talking about, there you go. I had a post talking about Bitcoin bears starting to come on in. And you can see here I noticed the same thing. That volume was starting to come in. So this is when I give a little hint out there. If you guys follow my X page, then you can kind of see I put some stuff out there and see if anybody picks up on it. All right. So yeah, that was fun. And we'll see. We'll see where this can go. I would expect there to be a pullback, and then we'll see if it runs a little bit further. But amazingly, Bitcoin miners are having a strong day today. So let me come over here, and I'll show you guys some of the Bitcoin miners. In fact, I guess I could just do this. I'll show you a little snip. So this is my Bitcoin watch list, Bitcoin and Bitcoin related. And you know what's interesting about this? The Bitcoin miners are what's positive. The Bitcoin ETFs are what's negative. Huh. So interesting. The disconnect between the miners and Bitcoin has been very, very pronounced over the last few weeks, because Bitcoin itself, if we just kind of look at GBTC as a representation itself, has obviously been very bullish right and through here. But then you look at things like Mara, and they just got wrecked, big pullback. But as I said, today, look at this, we're actually having a pretty big move to the upside on these things. This might be, amazingly, this might actually be the low of this pullback of this particular wave, and they might actually start moving up. So yeah, definitely keep an eye on them. I do like to trade Bitcoin miners, and we're starting to see some activity in through here. I am still very bullish on these things, but they move around a lot. So you got to kind of decide what you want to do about getting in and out of these things, or just holding through, because you could cut these things into a few different trades. There was one trade, there was another trade, and there might be another one setting up in through here. Otherwise, if you just want to park your money, you're going to have to go through some rides, some waves as you go through this whole thing. All right. B1, they say gold miners and other commodity stocks go up before gold. Similar effect with Bitcoin? Question. Oh, I am not sure about that. Gold miners and other commodity stocks go up before gold. I don't think so, because actually, if you look at least not this time, gold was holding up here at the highs, right there at the highs before it finally broke out. And you know what GDX was doing the whole time? Going down. So yeah, this one's been a little bit odd. Yeah, so GDX was going down while gold was actually holding up at the top. It was only when gold finally started to break out that GDX actually have a bit of a move. So I don't know. This correlation looks a little bit weird, and I was trying to understand that whatever gold to gold miners might be like Bitcoin to Bitcoin miners. Obviously, I don't know if there's any kind of connection or relationship to how the miners to the underlying might actually work, but it's interesting to see that there's quite the disconnect. Now let's see, Eric. Yeah, so you love the feeling of sitting mostly in cash in this market, potential pullback, and FOMC day. Yeah, it's feeling good too. I'm pretty happy with the performance that we've had over the last few months, and we're still hanging on to a few positions. They're doing well. And other than that, we've pulled a lot of cash off, and we're free to sit. We got FOMC, we got markets at a pretty high position, ready to go for whatever happens. And so, yeah, feeling good about where we are. It's nice to be de-risked sometimes, right? It's like a vacation. When it's time for the market to take a break and you pull your money off and you're in cash, you're like, oh my God, I kind of feel like I can do other things. Like, cool, let's do it. All right, Uni, let's get back to Mara. The hourly double bottom was a bounce off the monthly 10 and the weekly 200. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Monthly 10, weekly 200. Yep, I see it. There you go. So right here, pulling back into the monthly 10 and weekly 200. It seems to me that there's probably a level. But anyway, if you look at the monthly, that just seems like there's a level right there. And then as far as the weekly, see if we can kind of find There might be a horizontal level too. Well, yeah, right about, gosh, right about there. Look at that. Let me draw this line. Extend it to the right and extend it to the left. Sounds like a dance song. Yeah, look at that. So if we open this up here, you can see that there was a level here. There's a level there, right there, close. There's a level, there's a level, there's a level, and here we are again. Huh, isn't that interesting? So yeah, if we zoom in on that, yes, price dipped below it, but look where the bodies of the candle are. Yeah, and you can even see a little bit of a level there. Yeah, whatever that line is, at least for Mara, that seems to really be a big deal. About 18, call it, yeah, $18 and change. Seems to be a pretty good area of support for Mara. So that line will now be staying there for me because that looked important. Yeah, look at this, right there. That was the top of something, and now that's the bottom of another. All right. Well, I'll be watching these things closely. As I said, I'm pretty impressed that the Bitcoin miners are actually up today and having a good day. So they, as I said, they might be on their own planet doing their own thing. So yeah, but I like them. I like trading them. They're fun. The big movers. You know, we caught this one right here for about 39, 40%. We'll see what else we can. On that note, before I get going, I'll just show you guys CLSK. Again, very impressed. I wasn't shorting this. I have no official trade on this. I was thinking that since the rest of the Bitcoin miners had been moving down and falling down, this thing looked like it was really just about to fall lower. You can see that there's a level here too, and the Moxie indicator still below 0. So I was expecting, I wanted to see if this thing can actually cycle back down to its daily 50, which would be kind of in line with this previous high. If it could do that and test that support, that would have been a great buy. Now, if it doesn't, because I mean, look at this thing, it's holding up. If it doesn't, then this could be a great sign, the fact that it's really just going sideways and maybe goes higher eventually. I don't quite see it yet. I don't see a confirmed entry yet, but we do need to look at this, and price behavior will also be something, you know, the price behavior will be an answer for us. You know, the fact that this thing is not going down is an answer, is something that we should be paying attention to. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. Remember, we have FOMC in a few hours. I expect the market to not really do too much, although Bitcoin seems to be okay today. And other than that, let's just see what Jerome Powell says. Let's watch the Q&A. Let's see how the market reacts, and then we go from there. All right, everyone, take care, and I will see you tomorrow.